Hello, everyone. How are you doing, guys? Welcome to today's live. Uh, so today we've got our dear trainer and coach Aaron Leung, who is going to help a Q&A session about public speaking. So this is your 30 minutes when you can ask any questions you want, anything related to public speaking. If you're a beginner, go ahead. If you are an advanced speaker, also go ahead because I'm sure Aaron will be able to answer your questions. So before we begin, let me just introduce to you the flow of how this is going to go. First of all, we gave everybody the opportunity to send us some questions in advance. So obviously, Aaron will be going through these questions first. And then after that, he will be taking the questions live from the audience. All you need to do is to type your questions in the chat. And you don't need to wait for him to answer the previous question. Just pop it in the chat. We see it all, and we'll get to it when we have the opportunity. All right? Okay. Well, now, Sangeeta, I just noticed your comment in there. Can you please confirm that you can see me and you can hear me? Or anybody really, just to make sure that everybody can see us and hear us. Perfect. And I assume you can hear me too, since you wrote that. All right. Thank you so much for that. And now I'm not going to take any of your time. Please welcome on stage award-winning speaker, TEDx speaker and coach, and our wonderful impromptu speaking trainer, Aaron Leung. Oh, other side. This here. Here we go. Aaron, the
If
stage
I
is
can
yours.
hear you. Thank you. I need to look at those questions to answer first. Like I was like, where is the questions? I'm trying to find all those questions. I'll be answering all the other questions as well. Now, actually, there are a few questions in my list that I'm actually looking through, and I can answer them one by one. Diana, if you actually can throw me some questions, I'm happy to, because that will help me so much more. First question I actually come by is how to master the art of listening to understand rather than listening to respond. Now, in this part, this question actually plays a very big role in me. In the past, I'm usually the one that's like, I only listen to respond. I don't care. I just listen to what people, those points actually focus. And I was like, I rather like just respond because usually the first thing is we're very defensive. We tend to be very defensive because there are beliefs that we are caring about, and there are things that other people care. So technically speaking, in terms of public speaking wise, when we are trying to listen to understand, we first have to listen until that person is finished first. Maybe set some protocols and rules and say, look, tell me when you're done. That's what I usually do with Diana. Like, tell me when you're done, and then I will comment. And I divide my comment into two different sections. First of all, I try to understand where she's coming from or where he's coming from. And after which, I will give my own understanding and my own comments, clarify whether that's alright, is it correct or not. Then I will answer with my own comments. So it's like there are three stages. Number one, listen until they finish every single word that they're going to say. Because you may misunderstand. You may be very impatient. You just try to defend because it just struck the bro in you. It's like that's something that I think I stand really strong on. And to me, that's where the part comes in. Listen fully until the end, then comment, clarify, and then give your own opinions. And respect the differences. Because sometimes the reason why we're communicating or having conversations is because we both care. Otherwise, there's no form of communication. So I think that's actually more like answering the first question on that part. So thank you very much on that. I would like to have the next question. I didn't notice that there's someone behind me. Diana, if you can throw me another question, that'll be helpful. Thank you. Next question. What do I do to brush my voice in my head and the ugly thoughts that keep creeping in? Now, I need a clear definition of what ugly thoughts would be. Like, for me, ugly thoughts can mean a lot of things. So, depending on what the voice is, let's divide it in the voice into a good voice and maybe a negative voice in there. So, first things first, if it's a good voice telling you, hey, mm, I'm telling you to take the step forward. Now, it's your decision, totally fine. You can just take a step forward, move on. Now, take for extreme circumstances. If it's an ugly thought that kind of like distracts you and kind of affect the way that you do public speaking wise, always focus on the purpose while you're speaking. So when you're doing public speaking, sometimes to me, I actually have the very creepy thoughts. What am I going to do if I embarrass myself? What if I screw up my TED talk? That's actually do happen during my situation. I was like thinking, what's my purpose? Can I share in my own honest and authentic way? Focus on the goal, and then after which, the ugly thoughts will not come until you want to make that happen. So that is actually one thing that I think strikes in. So you cannot really prevent, but you can train your thoughts to say, hey, this ugly thoughts can be my friend. So those are consequences I have to bear. But what's the worst thing that you can bear? Like embarrassing yourself can be a form of entertainment, can treat it as a form of joke, and then turn it into a serious professional self. The stage is made by you. You can decide how it goes. If it's going to be really, really bad, the ugly force distracts you, give you very ugly consequences. Hey, as long as you're on the stage, you can still turn around. Don't worry, it's still fine. As long as you are still on the stage, I have to clarify on that one. So if you're embarrassing, you're crying, don't worry. Pick up your courage, cool down, focus on the audience. That's the part I think helps people to control ugly thoughts. Now, next one, how do I get rid of stage fright and a shaky, cracky voice? I think this is like a typical question from any speakers to any coaches around the world. And 80% will actually tell you, oh, stage fright, practice, practice, practice. First of all, the first thing is not about practicing. The first thing is to really understand why do you speak. Sometimes because, to my understanding, after researching for at least 16 years, my understanding related to stage fright is because we do care too much. We care about what other people think about us. We care about, hey, what's the worst thing that could happen to you? Is it affecting your reputation? Is it going to affect, like, humiliate you, making you feel like a very bad day? Think about the worst thing happen. That's really shaking the world in terms of your stage because that's creating the stage fright. Now, honestly, to get rid of stage fright, I have my own share of thoughts. There are three ways, typical way for three different types of speakers. If you are the novice, if you are the intermediate, or if you're like the expert speaker, we do have that stage fright. Even me, I do have the stage fright too, because I've seen all those people, unfamiliar faces. I do. Even the most renowned speaker around the world do have stage fright because they do care. So how do I get it? Number one, think about my purpose. Like, why do I speak? Hey, I have a bigger purpose than really messing my whole stage up. I need to focus on how I direct to the stage, my audience. I owe them a responsibility. I'm focusing on the content I'm sharing. The word is share. Just like thinking about you are chatting with a friend, a best friend. Do you have stage fright? Technically, you don't. Because stage fright happens when you're uncertain that you don't know whether they are going to embrace you for who you are. Now, you can turn the stage around that they can embrace you for who you are. So how do you do that? Really take control, share authentically, and express your thought. Find someone that is smiling at you. Find someone that is looking at you, maybe leaning forward. That person is supporting you. Find those cues. And that way, even if they're laughing, or you can control it, how many interactive questions ask the audience, get the vibe, get how they're feeling towards you. And then find those people who are supportive of you, look at them, deliver, and then continue on. When you find someone who is embracing you, that is actually one way to go forward to. So I think that helps you in terms of the stage fright into the first category. The second category is more like imagination. Like if you have a visual cue, like picture yourself that you are the best speaker in the world, what would you do? That kind of mindset change will actually help you to calm yourself, calm your nerves. For me, the other way to do so is that I actually, before I go up to any stage I'm really fearful about, I will have my favorite food. I will eat sushi. I'm not promoting sushi here, but I'm promoting that I'm actually using some ways that I'm using to calm myself, like putting myself in a good state of mood. Because remember, there's also one more thing that for all the people out there, speakers, if you don't care about the stage, no one will. The stage can be anywhere. So if you're not energetic, you don't care about the speech or what you're delivering, no one cares. So would you want to have a no one cares stage or would you want to have a scary stage? I would prefer the latter because at least a scary stage is a bunch of people who don't know me. Just talk, share, engage, interact, and really get the cues from them. You can see from the subtle cues like they're smiling, they're looking at you genuinely, they're focusing on the value, they're writing down the notes. Those are the cues that it makes your speech doing great. So I hope that answers your question. How to improve confidence level and ensure that my body language is appropriate and commanding. Now, in public speaking wise, we do have the situation whereby it's gestures, vocal variety, and presentation, your content, we call it. So, in terms of improving confidence level, my cues are there are three ways. One of them is definitely from one of my favorite speech in TED that I look up to. It's a confidence pose speech. So basically, you can search on TED, you can find this confidence pose. You just need to 2 minutes. Try to adjust your mood before the speech. Before you do the speech itself, do the confidence pose for 2 minutes. Find somewhere, act like a boss. That's one way to do so. For me, my usual way is the second way, which is basically walking the stage. I walk up the stage, rehearse, and imagine what my audience will feel like. Think about the consequences. Think about how I'm reacting. What is the highlight moment in your speech? And that would be my second cue. Now, sometimes it's depending on who your crowd is. We have something called the KYA, know your audience, who your audience are, because your audience do matter, because your audience actually affects your choice of words, the age group, the cultural background. Those are things that we pay attention to. And we speakers, if you are being very cautious, I would highly recommend you to really search for some cues that there are things that are taboos in that culture. Those are things that we have to pay it's sufficient we call that sensitivity, we call it sufficient sensitivity to that culture, because we're respecting all the speech might be easygoing. You're trying to engage with the people, but the thing is that first of all, we have to still respect our audience. Why are they here for? Is there any words that actually pick them the wrong way? We have to be slightly sensitive. In technical words, we call it empathy. So once you actually think about those gestures, where you do sufficient research itself, it helps you to build on that momentum. So I think that helps in terms of answering this question. Next one, how to find ideas to answer questions spontaneously. We call that as impromptu. Ideas-wise, or depending on which type of speakers you are, we actually divide it into 3 different categories. Typically, as a coach, I divided over 1,000 types of speakers. But that's more than that. But 3 typical ways to help you to find ideas. Number one, I usually do the very typical approach. Look around us. Okay? Look around you. There are always something trying to reach out to you. There might be something that actually speaks a story to you, something that's related to you. That's number one. So if you're actually thinking about those ideas, oh, noisy, really? It's actually pretty alright now. I don't think anything there. So in terms of that, maybe I just try to avoid the fan. So you can find anything around you. Those cues can be speaking a story. Like if I see this Fortan over here, it may actually speak my childhood memories when I actually first visited here, and then I just continue on going. Ideas are everywhere around you. It depends on whether it's the word trigger, the picture trigger, or the emotional trigger. So for visual wise, we focus on pictures. If you're the picture type, you can look at any pictures and it triggers emotions and feelings, and that will actually add to your idea because those are triggers. Number two is thinking about the word. If it's like somebody asks you a question, any trigger words that triggers an incident, you can actually relate to it. That's the second cue. The third way to do so to find ideas is based on your personal experience. The best story comes from yourself. Now, personal stories actually helps you in answering any type of situation. That's why we master the basic class in terms of impromptu wise. We have to experience a lot. Even if we never experience, imagine we put ourselves in that position. What would we do? Those are things that we help to answer the questions spontaneously, because you never know what sort of things that happens. Next one. How do you overcome your fears and nerves? How do you get the courage to start public speaking? Now, for me, this is a very big question for me because I'm different from other speakers, though. Other speakers actually focus more on trying to overcome in terms of techniques wise. For me, I'm an introvert. I'm also someone who's being victimized by bullying. Also, another type of speaker that is destroyed in beliefs. I actually suffered 3 different low ends in overcoming my speech, and that is kind of horrifying. Now, for me, if I want to overcome the fear of public speaking wise, the first thing is, why do I need to share? Back to the purpose wise. Why do we care? Why do you want to share that speech? Because there's a purpose. I need to find a purpose. Usually, people who find a purpose in speaking, actually, we did a lot of different surveys and research about that. If you actually do a lot of different pre-attempts, it actually helps you to boost your momentum and energy level by at least 30 to 40%. So finding the purpose in speaking actually helps you to overcome that. Now, nerves-wise, it's not just a technique-wise, it's more like a mindset thing. To get courage to start public speaking, find the cause. If you're not the cause type of person, find the results that you want. If you're not the result-driven one, then the last momentum is, what do you want to create out of your speech? What is the impact? So these are three different categories that I would recommend to help you to find that inner courage. Next one, how do I make sure I remember what I prepare under pressure? Actually, to be honest, to answer this question wise, you cannot make sure that, because even if you memorize it, you remember it, I can tell you that you will forget about it because you over prepared. Now, to really try to maximize how you can remember from it, one of the tips I will definitely share is that you can, depending on what type of speakers you are or what type of learning methods you are, divide it into keywords. For every speech that I do from 2008, from every speech I do from 2008 onwards, I started public speaking when I was 2006, so 2 years. I only find 5 keywords, and those 5 keywords can last for an entire day. So those 5 keywords that I have to say in the speech, the presentation, the workshop that I have to do, those are the 5 words that actually help me to last. So to remember what you prepared wise, relaxed, chill mentality wise, that actually affects. Now another way to do so is to really get that kind of, I would say, content immediately. Try to master about impromptu. It's based on how much rehearsal you have done, and then those like things that you do forget, you pay extra attention to. Practice actually triggers those memories too. So that way, it helps you to handle it under pressure. And handling under pressure, you can turn the pressure into your friend. Now, for me, I am someone that doesn't like pressure. If I have tiny bitsy pressure, I will panic and break down. So how do I actually overcome that situation wise is very simple. I treat it as if I'm chatting with my best friend. I'm chilling, I'm chatting, interacting. That's what I focus on. Just like right here, right now. I actually have a broken computer just now before I start this conversation. I'm under pressure. I cannot remember all the things, but I'm thinking about how or what's the value I'm sharing with you right now online. So that's what I'm focusing on. That keeps me on purpose, on goal. I hope that answers question about what I'm preparing under pressure. Next one. How body language can be a reason to support your confidence. Actually do, because if you have the body language wise, actually just looking for me. If I look like really tilt down, like I feel very gloomy, no one cares, okay? People just think that, oh, wait, this person is having a bad day. My training is really bad because you're getting a vibe from that speaker. So the thing is that the body language wise actually makes an importance in terms of how confident are you, because that confidence actually builds trust, whether I can trust you based on first impression. So if I'm like carrying like a gloomy type, the person today I'm going to talk about this workshop about impromptu. I don't even trust you. I don't even know you. Even maybe I research about you, I look at your credential, you're not backing up that fact. I have doubts. So that actually creates a very bad impression on that part. So body language wise helps in 3 different stages. The first stage is building your first impression. Building your first impression, a solid one. Is that confidence oozing out of you? Do you know what you got to say? Those are the things. You can see the momentum, you can see the vibe. That's how it goes for your body language. Now, in the middle wise, the body language actually helps to build feelings and empathy. So just like if I'm slowing down and I'm trying to express my words through this way, you can try to see that I'm trying to relate with you. Not just hand gestures. I'm actually using one hand right now. But if you have 2 hands, you can do so many things. One hand wise, you can actually do different things, like maybe like a little Korean love, like that kind of thing. You can think about things that may be related to your audience. Those things that can be done either by one hand or 2 hands. Not just that. Body language doesn't mean hand gestures. We focus on facial expression, your legs, how you stand, and also how you kind of position yourself on the stage. Those are things that actually help us to really support your confidence, and not just that, helping people believe in your confidence. And then the final stage, how you end, the body gestures, like you can show the people that you care about. I do believe, I do care about this. Those are things that really strengthen it. It depends on your content. Your content, do you want it to be passionate? Do you want it to be strong? Do you want it to be extraordinary? What is the impact that you want to create? So like these tiny details, just like what I'm doing right now, these tiny details, you have to pay attention to. So those are things that help you to boost confidence, because these gestures wise, you're sticking with it, you are actually supporting towards it. Hope that answers the question. How do I handle the racing? This reminds me of like Gordon Ramsay's like talk show. I love it. How do I handle the racing heartbeat when I'm put on the spot? Now, the racing heartbeat, is it pop, 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 pop? Yeah, stage fright kind of thing, because you care, you kind of like panicking. Maybe that time, in terms to think about like, why do you have a racing heartbeat? Maybe you forget your words. Maybe like you know that you didn't prepare enough. Maybe you also know that, hey, the words I'm speaking, do they think about me differently? Those are a few potential options. Oh, we call those opinions that will come from the audience. Now, how do I handle the racing heartbeat? Number one, we call this mindfulness or meditation. Breathe in, breathe out kind of thing. If it doesn't work for you, try a different one. This one do work for some speakers. Not just saying that, hey, this is only just one point. The other one that I do happen and focus on, and we focus on the elements of racing heartbeat wise, is that to me, when I do have a racing heartbeat, I'm just putting myself in your shoe. If I'm having a racing heartbeat right now, panicking and being very nervous, I first tell myself, hey, I can do it. This we call it as motivational mindset. We focus on that, adjust our mentality, and keep on going. If it doesn't work for you, then think about maybe there's one question that can interact with the audience. Because one way to actually build back that racing heartbeat to let people feel that you're connected with them is to really get the crowd involved. Even if you're not prepared, you can just tell them that I'm actually panicking right now because I'm really having a nervous fright. But don't worry, that happens to every single public speaker. Turn embarrassment into humor. And another way to take control of the stage. Once you're able to take control of the stage, or control on your mindset, or control on your momentum, those are ways to help you to handle your racing heartbeat. So hope that answers your question. Next, yoga techniques do help. Yes, it does. But you can't do yoga practice when you're doing a speech like, hey, stretch myself. No, you can't. No, think about those things that you can do on that spot. That's much more practical because we want to focus on solutions. I hope that answers most of the questions here. Anyone who wants to throw the questions, please feel free to throw the questions. Hope that answers that. Answers all the questions in the chat box already, I think. Now, there are some myth busters as well I can actually mention as well. Time to finish. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Diana. I'll give two more final tips before that. So, one of the myths that I have to break for every single one of you who are looking at right now, one myth that I break is some people think that speakers have to have to practice a lot, we call it. Now, practicing a lot is one way to do. But think about it. If you do a job, and you focus on one way all the time, you'll only improve based on the method effectiveness and the time that you train. Now, that's where it brings us to you, like all the coaches here. We coaches actually help you to find that perfect solution because we want to understand you. We are there with you, just like a fitness coach. We do have customized ideas and plans and styles. That for me, if there's any particular drills, I would definitely practice one. Depending on what type of speakers, we have visuals, we have auditory, we also have the dynamics. Visual wise, focus on pictures, triggers, so it helps you to control the momentum and speak up. For auditory, based on your voice, vocal variety wise, expressive, oh, tiny soft, depending on how you control your voice. If you're going to be the dynamic wise, if you're going to be really like the movement type, take control of the stage, move around. That really helps you to so much more because that actually takes control of it. That's why I say the myth buster wise is that there are always people that say, I'm not going to be speaking very well. I'm not going to do really well. Now, that's the mindset affecting. Everyone can speak. That's what I always believe after 16 years. If I can do it, no, everyone can do it. Because I have trust issue in the past. I don't even talk. I don't even connect with people because I don't think that this is worth my time. I'll spend my time sleeping. Yeah, I'm a lazy one. But after which I start sharing, I start to engage, and that's where it brings the momentum back. Now, over practicing can cause pressure. That's why we don't want that happen. Focus on the keywords, focus on what you want to share, and build that authenticity, that connection, interactiveness. Bring that momentum back to your control, and that's how you actually control your stage fright. Because over preparation allows you to like brain dead, we call it. Like suddenly it's gone. So, in conclusion, wise, feel free. I hope that this Q&A session helps everyone, and no matter what it is, we coaches actually serve to help you. For my specialty, I focus on customized training, one-to-one, in terms of learning your styles, helping you to find your potential, overcoming those circumstances, situations that happens around the world, and that's where we comes in. For me, I focus on your potential and how I can make you better, because everyone can speak and own the stage. If you're asked a question that you're not prepared to answer it, just be honest, very authentically. I'm not prepared to answer it, but I definitely guarantee you after this speech or presentation, I'll answer it. You can use authenticity to actually be on the answer. So feel free to click on the link there. There's a book a section of me. If you're interested to know more about your own speaking style, what you can do with your speaking style, and how you can use that to be a life changer and bring opportunities to you, feel free to engage with me. I focus on delivering your excellence through finding your own speaking styles and customize it so no one can copy it because it's you. Every single style belongs to you. And now, how long have I been doing this? 16 years. I've been doing a lot of that. So with that said, conclusion-wise, I hope everyone have a good day. Use public speaking and impact the world because your speech makes every difference in the world these days. That's all, and say goodbye. Take care.